sine of this is dne anyway. If it's from the left, if it's from the right, it doesn't matter. So this is still dne. And you could draw the conclusion, which is not correct, that 0 times dne should be 0. No, we cannot draw that conclusion. So in that case, my first step has to be this. So no matter what sine of whatever angle, I don't care for the angle, whatever the angle is, I know that this is a bounded function, bounded below by -1 and bounded above by 1, by definition, no matter what. So now I have this piece in the middle, but I did not build the entire function. I need this piece to be next to sine as well. But I cannot just multiply the middle. I have to multiply all three sides. So I will multiply all three sides by x cubed plus x squared. As long as x cubed plus x squared does not equal 0, it does not. How do I know? This symbol says x approaches. So please remember that. The fact that we plug it in, it's a different story. We plug in to see what type of case we are facing. But when we say x approaches 0, we really mean it. X is not 0. So this is not 0. And it has to be a number positive, greater than 0. If it is, then I will not change the symbols, the inequality symbols. If I know that it's less than 0, then I have to switch the inequality symbols. But it's a square root. If it is a square root, it will always be positive. And it will not be 0 because x is not 0. So I'm safe, meaning, in which way I'm safe? Or why am I saying that? The inequality symbols will stay. And I will multiply all three sides by this quantity. So the left-hand side is negative, the square root of x cubed plus x squared. The middle side is this. And the right-hand side has to be this. So I found the functions that squeeze this. So this is function, if this is f of x, let's call this one g of x, and let's call this one h of x. So this is the first hypothesis of the squeeze theorem, to show that the function is squeezed. In step number 2, I have to find the limit of g of x when x approaches 0, either side, left, right, it doesn't matter, and this and this. So I show that limit as x approaches 0 from g of x will equal limit from h of x as x approaches 0. Again, positive, negative, just both, either side, it doesn't matter. Both exist, and both are equal, and they're equal to 0. Therefore, from 1 and 2, by the squeeze theorem, I conclude the limit of the square root x to the third plus x squared times sine pi over x as x approaches 0 is indeed 0. By the squeeze theorem. Anything that you have about this problem? Any questions or any concerns about this one?
No, thank you.
Okay, very good. Anything?
I have a real quick question. Tom.
Yes, yes.
So in the answer, why did we not put from the right like we did on the top?
It really doesn't matter. We can consider from the right, and then we will show from the left, and the answer will still be the same.
Oh, okay, thank you.
So you can repeat to the right, nothing will change if it's from the left or from the right. So we can consider that both sides will be the same. When we talk about the reason why I think would have been clearer if we just used the positive, is here, when x approaches 0, we have to make sure that this quantity is positive. But from the left or from the right of 0, x to the third will be smaller than x squared. So even if this is negative, this will cover it, will be bigger than it. Because this will always be positive power 2, and this will always be negative if we talk about the left-hand side. But this will be, but if we go to the left of -1, that's not going to happen anymore. So that's why I didn't want to confuse the whole idea. But, and I wanted to consider from the right. See what happens with this function. If x is less than or equal to -1, then this becomes a bigger number than this, and the square root will be taken from a negative number, which is not possible. So there are some considerations here. That's why I wanted to only work on the positive side. But it's okay as long as you know that when x approaches 0, it's very close to 0. Because to the left-hand side of -1, this does not exist anymore. So it's a little bit stretching it on that side without the explanation. Very good question. Thank you. Anything else? Other topics that you would like to review? And for Thursday, I would like you, please come prepared with questions, whatever you want to work on. Review?
Epsilon delta.
Yes, very good, awesome, good topic. Do you have a function for us? Give me any linear function.
3x plus 1, I guess.
3x plus 1. And where do you want the limit from 3x plus 1 to be determined?
I guess 5.
5. What is the limit equal to?
9.
I know why you said 9. You didn't want me to feel bad about that. Thank you. Thank you. I knew you cared. Thank you so much. So bottom line, that is 9 as long as this is, what did I write? What was it? So as long as this is, what was it, 64? That was 9.